Hey guys, welcome back to All That Glitters. Today I'm going to show you how I restyle Ariel. This is a fairy tale wig space, and I'm going to use this base, which is obviously a big fat mess, and we're going to make it look like that other one that I just showed you. So first things first, I'm going to put it on my styrofoam head, grab my Babeless Pro brush, and just brush the whole thing out. We're going to do a deeper detangling later, but you really can't start until you've brushed through everything and just kind of gotten your base in a neutral place. I'm also going to brush out the bangs and get them really detangled because I'm using a kind of new method of teasing today that I'm going to show you, and I want to start with just a really nice tangle-free base in the bangs. So now the next step is to style our bangs. Ariel is one of my favorite styles because she's actually surprisingly easy to do. So we're going to start by sectioning off these bangs basically in half. I like to use the end of this rat tail comb to do that. And we're going to comb the top half back and out of the way, and we'll come to that later. We're just going to start with teasing this bottom layer here first. So we're going to start by making sure this lower layer is pretty smooth. So I'm running this rat tail comb through and just getting out all those little knots. And then to tease, you're going to just super lightly kind of run it up the hair there in these little circular motions. We're basically going for something that's kind of like the texture of cotton candy. I'm holding the hair loosely, moving my little comb in a circular motion. You can do this with any comb that you like to tease with. And basically what we don't want is we don't want to stack the hair up, like pack it together. We're looking for something that's kind of like fluffy, flossy, bouncy texture that'll be easy for us to shape. So I'm just going to kind of go through this, and you'll notice that I didn't tease a whole bunch in the ends because we want to kind of keep those nice and tangle free. So I'm really gentle with the ends. Also, I was just going to point out that I love using velvet tie scrunchies to hold the hair back. It makes it just really easy to manage. Okay, now we're going to take about an inch of hair that we're going to pull over to the side, and this is that directional teasing. And I'm going to grab a little bit of the stuff I've already teased and kind of work them in together. Sorry, my arm's in the way. It was hard to position the camera, but you can see I'm doing that same teasing technique, but I pulled the hair in a little bit different direction to the side. This will help us get that piece that's going to like kind of swoop down before it comes up. Now see here, I'm doing a little bit more packing right at the root. It's just because I'm trying to get the hair to like actually kind of stand up. So this is a different kind of like root teasing, but I'm not doing that kind of packing it in on everything else. Now we're going to grab that other section of hair and just do that same little stacking technique. You know, we're going for, like I said, that kind of candy floss, really fluffy texture. Now that I've done most of the teasing I want to do here, you'll see I'm going to take one of these long upholstery needles. I like to use these for styling. And I'm going to place it where I want that curve to come up. I like to put mine just to the right, well, you're looking at it to the left, of that middle line right there. That's like kind of where I like my little swoop to come up. And then I'm just gonna take my comb and I'm gonna really, really gently just start smoothing. Now you don't wanna dig your comb like all the way down into that teasing because you don't wanna lose all your fluff. So you're just going really lightly over the top, lots of patience, definitely working at the bottom, you know, to make sure that you have kind of a smooth tail, but just going through and kind of smoothing this down. This is that shaping. It just takes practice and time, but the best advice I can give is just to not dig your comb in. Now you could use a pick. I actually do really like to use picks. I just didn't happen to have one with me today. A lot of my styling equipment is at our office, not at my house. So yeah. Now for this step, I'm going to basically be coming along and doing the final smoothing. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the end of my rat tail comb. You could use one of those upholstery needles. And I'm basically going through the bangs and looking for any like little loops of hair where it's kind of like caught on itself, and pulling them out and putting them in line with the rest of the bangs. This is how you get that really smooth kind of styling that you're definitely going to want to go for in any kind of swoops. Bells, Ariel, Rapunzel, doesn't matter. You want it to be really smooth. So and as you can see, I'm just really taking my time with this step, making sure that everything's shaped the way I want it to be shaped, coming back, making sure there isn't any hair out of place. This is definitely one of those steps where like if you rush it, you're not going to be happy with your final product. And I see a lot of people who the first few times they style like Belle or Ariel especially, things are just not smooth and kind of all going in line. And I think it's because people get tired and don't want to be patient. So the next step is to take that rat tail comb, and I'm going to grab like we'll say 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch pieces of hair, and run my comb through them and comb out all those teeny tiny tangles. I have noticed that the fairy tale wigs fibers seem to tingle a little bit more than some others, but really any synthetic wig is going to have that problem. And so I'm going through and I'm running that comb through, getting all the little tangles out, no knots, and then I'm going to roll it up in the curler. And I'm going to do that for every single strand. This will ensure that there are no knots in my wig when I'm done with this restyle. And you'll notice that I rolled that up and then readjusted it. If something doesn't look right, take the time to fix it before you steam it and all that, so that later down the road you don't have something that you hate. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward through this part of it. You guys know how to put rollers in. I do the whole head, and these rollers, you can find the link to them in my supply video. It was the first video on my channel. Now I'm taking my steamer. I'm steaming these. It's a Rowenta steamer from Macy's. I leave it in each section for like 30 to 45 seconds. And then I let it cool for like 40 minutes. And now I'm taking them all out. Ariel, I don't let it curl, I don't let it hold as long as others. And now I'm going through and brushing out those curls. Some like a ringlet curl for Ariel. I like that mermaid wave personally. I think it's easier to maintain. Now it's time to kind of finish off the bangs. So you'll see I have a bobby pin, and the strategy here is to go underneath the teasing and put the bobby pin into that so that it's secure in the wig but you don't see any pin. You want to use like probably bronze pins for Ariel, unless you want to like spray paint pins red or something. So I'm going up under the teasing with these pins and pinning it down in a way that like there's not a pin over the top of the hair. You won't see it, the pins. They won't be visible at all. I'm checking all the styling, making sure that there isn't like a gap in the back, that I like the shape. Because once I steam the bangs and spray them, then I'm kind of stuck. Now later, I'm not sure if I caught it on video, I actually didn't quite like the swoop in the front there, so I actually ended up moving that needle and giving it a little bit different shape as well. I like to use the Got to Be Glued spray. I've kind of switched to that, and you want to hold it pretty far away. The only time I give it a more direct shot is on that underside piece, just because I like to make sure that there's no hair that can come loose there. Then I'm going to take a little bit of spray, put it on the back of the wig up here, and take this baby brush and use it to just very gently smooth down any flyaways. And I'm going to do the same thing on the bangs. Very gentle, you're not digging into the style. You can even put the hairspray onto the brush if you prefer. And it's just like a light mist of hairspray. You don't want to put a whole bunch of spray in the wig, especially in the back by the curls. I'm going to go ahead and pin underneath on the tail of this as well. For some reason, the tail end of these bangs is longer than my other one. I think I cut it shorter on the other one, so the styling on the side is just a tad bit different. So I'm going to grab the other one here just to show you guys for comparison what the difference is. So they're pretty much identical. That one that I'm holding in my hand is on a much smaller styrofoam head. I always style on a canvas wig block. They're more like the size of a normal person head. If you hold a styrofoam wig up to your face, you're like, holy cow, that's tiny. So once they're onto the styrofoam head, they look a little bit different because they're not stretched out, but they're pretty much identical. And really quick, I want to show you guys what I do when I'm like transferring them to a styrofoam head, how I store them, how I teach my performers to put them away after each wear. So I put it on the styrofoam head. Oh, I messed up under the bangs there just a little, but I do come back and fix it. So you can see like the style already looks totally different on that smaller head. And I'm going to take U-pins and I'm going to put them just underneath the styling here just to kind of help hold its shape. Especially if like our back room at our venue is humid or anything like that, it won't lose its shape. And then I'm going to take black netting. Oh, sorry, I'm going to pin it to the wig head. You always want to pin it at the top with like a T-pin. And then I like to use these upholstery needles to help me hold my netting on. So I get this black netting on Amazon. I'm pretty sure I linked it in my supply video. Again, if you want to check that out. I'm going to go over the top of the bangs and use that needle to secure my net. And I'm going to very gently pull it down over the back, pile the curls into the net, and then I'm going to tie the net off. And this is how I would ship wigs if I was sending them to somebody else, like if it's a restyle. And this is how I store all my wigs. I think it helps hold the curls and the styling. If somebody bumps up against it, it's not going to get like really messed up. So it's my personal belief that a wig should always be netted when it's not being worn. So I'm going to come through on the underside here, tie that netting off. The faces I make are so hilarious. And then voila,